Welcome back to the EGL Gears of War 4 Fall Regionals. It's through myself, and I'm joined by Callum again. We're just about to go into our first semi-final match that we're going to see Fable in. So it's going to be Fable versus DZ. Quite a good matchup, I think, coming up.
Yes, definitely.
Fable just coming off the back of a very, very close game against GA Esports, our Spanish champions that are here today, this weekend. 7-6 it was in the second match.
Was it?
It was 7-5, 7-6, and GA were ahead in both games. So pretty spicy game. We were expecting a pretty good one there, but Fable did manage to pull it out of the bag, and yeah, now we're going to see them in this quarterfinal match. See on stream right now. Do you want to just run us through quickly the other games in the bracket that we've seen going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've already mentioned that in Fable versus DZ. So this is a closely anticipated game. I'll focus more on that in just a moment. We'll run through the games that were other ones. So we've got Era. As you see them on stream earlier, they was able to take out Void Gaming pretty easily. So that wasn't too much. And they're against Stimulate. So the Stimulate team consists of
It's the Breaker, Demonic, Mush, Worry Guns and Chid roster. So we've seen that roster for quite a while.
Yes, we have. It's a very individually skilled roster. So there's a lot of talent on that team. So some of them have been around for quite a while now, but they are still fairly young as it goes. A lot of land experience as well on that team. Supremacy. So there are our French kings, if you will, against the very competent Radiant Esports, who was out on main stage for you just a few moments ago, and they was able to take out OBN. So that was it was a very good game, especially on Dam. They was able to walk away with impact with relative ease. And then the first game of the quarterfinals that has actually been played was Team Cryptic, and they was to take on Most Wanted minus Intact, who their team seems to have had a change a few days ago. They've picked up Most Wanted. They picked up. Most Wanted, did they play?
They picked up. I'm not sure actually. I can't remember the fifth player's name. They have had a roster change though. However, they dropped Syntax for another player.
Yes, indeed.
And it has actually impacted their gameplay. I was watching the game. Cryptic, they're coming in as our third seed.
Yeah.
So they are, they're a very good squad in their own right. However, Cryptic did manage to walk through with the 2-0. Cryptic having a fantastic tournament so far. They've not lost a map yet. They're awaiting the winner of Supremacy and Radiant. Looking into the losers bracket as well, we have our first losers bracket game that has been played. So ODA Gaming, you can see them in the round 1 top bracket there. They played Evo Gaming, which, to be fair to Evo, they were an under the day pickup. But they did beat ODA. They did beat Evo, ODA, and they've gone through to round 1 to play against Warm Toast, who lost earlier. OBN, of course, they dropped to play the French squad of Team Reckless, and we've got Prismatic against Void Gaming. You might hear them in the background there. It's a pretty loud game going on over there. And then on the other side, Orcs and GA as well. GA looking to continue their good performance earlier, perhaps win a game this time, moving through the bracket. So on the screen, we can see our teams. That's Fable in front of us. Getting themselves ready, getting themselves prepared. They had a tough game earlier. It definitely took their toll. You could see it on their faces. They were stressing a little bit, but they calmed themselves back down, brought themselves back into the game, and they excelled in the final rounds for sure.
Yeah, as you expect from our European champions. So they won the last LAN event that we had in Nottingham. Say it went to about 3:30 in the morning or something like that this time around. So they've got a great sustain on them. So hopefully they're able to, not hopefully, but we'll see what they're able to do here. So we've got the pick ban phase now. So you can see that the Fable, they banned Harbour, DZ, banned Impact. Now Fable have picked Reclaim, so we've seen this roster for a long, long time now. So we know how strong they actually are on Reclaim. So that's a map that they're going to be extremely confident going into DZ. So they shouldn't really, in their eyes now, they shouldn't have any trouble at all with beating them on that map. DZ have actually chosen Dam now. So that's Dam's a map that we saw in the last game. And that was an extremely close game. It was incredible to watch. 7-6, and it was Radiant who was able to come out on top in that. So we're going to see where that leads us with DZ. Then Fable banned Lift, so a map that they probably themselves don't like. DZ, in return, they've banned Foundation. Now, Foundation, one of the most popular maps that we have, regularly played. I can see why. It's a fantastic map. it's a map that every team is pretty much comfortable on. But Fable, without a doubt, they are probably the best team in Europe on that map, if not as a whole. And then the last map then that we've got that Fable have chosen, with being the highest seed, they do get to pick 2 maps, is Forge Blitz. So like Toby was saying earlier, it's the newest map that's been added to the cycle. So now, Alex, what are your opinions on the actual map?
On the map picks, I think they're a good 3 map picks. It's nice to see Forge Blitz making its way into the cycle. If we make it to a 3rd game, I think that'll be quite an interesting one to see played out. We've not seen it here on stream just yet.
Yeah.
The other 2 maps, though, I do think they go in Fable's favour. DZ, a very strong team in their own right, but Fable are slightly better, and I think they're better on both those maps as well. Expecting a 2-0. Perhaps we'll see a 3rd map, but quite honestly, I think this will be a pretty quick match.
Yeah, obviously you want to be optimistic, you want to see it go and be as competitive as possible. But when it's a team like Fable, who have been around for so long, now this is the old Epsilon roster, for those of you that aren't aware. They were actually under XL at the last event that they went to, and they won. Now, this team of Pulses Brazil, Redline, RMJ and Primary. So you've got your 2 veteran players in this team. You've got Brazil and Redline, okay? So they've been around for many years on many different games. So these are the 2 players that you're going to be looking to, especially with these young kids in this team, to actually lead them through the hard times, because they are going to go through some tough times in this game. So it's going to be down to those 2 guys to keep their heads so they're able to actually propel these younger players forward. And as you can see, looking at the Fable team, like, they look extremely calm. You've got Craze at the far end there. You've got Sam looking at the camera. You've got Will, who just looks as calm and relaxed as ever. MVP for the last event that he went to. So I'm really looking forward to actually watching him on stream and see if he's able to perform to the standards that we know he can.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very good point. The standards that we know they can is very high. We are about to jump into our first match. The map's loading up. We're just getting the players in. You can see the Reclaimed fly through on the screen right now. Expect a lot of action in this barn area. We're also expecting some action up near the top manor. So once the fly through is commenced, we'll jump on board with the teams. We'll jump on the overhead map. Let's have a look at what both teams are going to play out on.
Yeah, absolutely. So normally what most teams go in for is the initial. It's the 4 and 1. So you can have 1 person towards the gate, 3 people pushing up towards the manor side. And there seems that we've got a pause that's possibly going to come up there. Unless this is a strat that's been performed. If we're able to look at the overhead again, yeah, so we're going to have a pause here, guys. Any second now. Seems to have been some sort of issue that's gone down on the DZ side.
Yeah, we are just seeing some technical difficulties, it looks like. Just something to comment upon while we're sorting out this. You mentioned the initials. It's usually a 4-1 we see there. 4 around the kind of top barn, the manor area, and then 1 playing the home hills.
Yep.
From what it looked like then, I think I saw a 3-2 coming from the side of Fable.
So what is normally done is, so you have the 3 people come up through the barn side, and then you have 1 person go towards the home hill, and you have the other person come up like either P1 or P4, or S1 or S4, so stair 1, stair 4, whichever side that you're on. So that's the way they rotate up, and then normally the last person will pick up and look through the gate, or depending on how they want to play, but it's normally 4 up towards that side, or maybe the guy who comes up through the stairs, he will take over towards apples and obviously watch their back, so they're not going to get flanked from that side. So it's obviously most teams, it's dependent on how they want to go by it, but a lot of the time you do see the way it comes up, 1 come up through the stairs. So
it's more of a flanking route through the middle than picking up that option through the apples.
Yeah, you also get the head count as well. Obviously, it's always vital to know how many people that you're going to have in a certain position. So you'll benefit him anyway. Normally, the home hill guy can get a head count, but say that guy's always going to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, better have the extra eyes on that. 2 eyes better than 1. Well,
yeah,
4
exactly.
better than 2.
Of course, yeah, because you might miss something. If the home hill guy's a little bit late, then he's obviously not going to be able to see the first guy, so he might call 3 when this other guy said he'd been able to see 4. So, but yeah, unfortunate though that we wasn't able to get into this game. We've had to come back to a little burrito today, but no worries at all whatsoever. Gives us more time to be able to talk about the teams. And as I say that, we're back into countdown.
That's true. The countdown is coming in. All players back in the lobby. Do you expect the teams just to run the same kind of standard opening as they did just then before the pause?
Yeah, absolutely. Say first few rounds, especially in the in games like this, it's just feeling them out. So I don't expect Fable to pull out many strats. you normally save that for games that you're really struggling in. So if they are struggling, yeah, don't get me wrong, they'll more likely pull out the strats that they need to. But especially for the start, you would never, ever, ever have a random strat that you pull out first round. You just want to feel out the team, see what they're doing before you start whipping out strats. So yeah, I expect basics for the first few rounds. For the first few rounds anyway, and on both sides.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, we're into the game once again. Just waiting for the players to load in. One thing to mention, how far J Ray just sat back. He always sits that far back. I don't know how you can see the screen. That said, we're 2 seconds away from the match starting. We'll jump overhead again just to see this opening strat, and then we'll get up onto the mana fight and see what's going on around that fight area.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where it's going to be hotly contested anyway. Like you're saying, J Ray sat back. He's so far away from his screen, he's practically at home. It's just
playing online. So yeah, as you say, actually saying that again, we do have one player in the cog spawn. Seems to be behind everyone else. I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's jump to the mana fight though. We see Rage coming in later on. Not sure if cog are going again. Looks like they're standing still.
Yeah, so it's okay. So unfortunately, looks like we're going to go to another pause again. So there is issues with with somebody on the DZ team that we need to iron out. So I am really sorry about this second pause, but hopefully 3 times the charm, if you will. So as you can see, from left to right, you've got Brazil, Charlie Brazilians. You've got Ryan Redline. You've got hands up in the air. I can't quite see his face. Nope, just see Redline's face. So that's Connor, and goes under the gamer tag of, just trying to find it now.
Is it RMJ or Primary?
Yeah, I think that one's I think that is RMJ. Yeah, and then the other two you've got Pulses, and then you've got Primary, and you've got their coach as well, who I haven't seen standing with them. You've got Rukshan, but
he was definitely there earlier. He was watching their first game. Not sure if he's on the stream right now, but he's we've shown confirmation he is there, just standing off to the side, just out of camera. So he'll be quite an important part in this game. The coach role, not something we're seeing from a lot of teams here, but there are a few coaches in attendance here. We've got GA have got a coach, obviously DZ have a coach, and they're just there to help time the weapons, just have a nice kind of overview of all of the monitors, what's going on, and help relay information across the team, calm any issues, just keep their players in track.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's something I'd like to see some of the top teams pick up. You see a lot of the top American teams with their coaches these days.
Yeah.
It does help for preparation. There's a lot of work goes into preparation for these events. So yeah, maybe something that Fable here or Era will look into in the future as they move towards the majors over in America.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something that they should consider. So there's no doubt that it actually works. But the main thing that you've got to have with when you are having a coach, you've got to have somebody that you actually respect as a person. Now, if you just try to pick up a coach of somebody, just anybody, just for the sake of having a coach and who's going to time it, it's not going to work. So he's going to have things where he might suggest something, and if you don't have no respect for your coach, then you're not going to take anything that he says on board. You're going to understand what he's saying about the weapon timing. So you'll be like, okay, yeah, so this weapon's spawning up and this blah blah blah. But there's so much more a coach can actually offer you than just time your weapons. This guy's coming off spawn, that guy's coming off spawn. They're weak on this side of the map. Obviously, he can fill a voice because a lot of teams do have a guy who is a lot quieter than the others. You're not going to have a team of 5 people of actual vocalists on that team. So he can also pick up the slack for that person who may not necessarily talk as much as the others. So there's a lot more benefits than just the weapon timing, but it's just like Era, for instance. I couldn't actually think of a person off the top of my head, especially over in EU, who would actually pick up as a coach and actually have respect for what he's saying to them. Same goes for Fable. So obviously they've been there, they've been out to America a lot. It'd have to be somebody of like a high, not say high stature, but just somebody that they respect as a player and as what they say as well. So it might be quite difficult for them. You do have your big coaches in America as well, don't you? You've got your Ryan Falls for Echo Fox, you've got Ashes for Optic. Yeah. So yeah, they definitely do work, and obviously they do, when they put in the time, it's definitely something favourable for the team. But so hopefully they are able to do that, but it will just have to be somebody that we do respect.
Yeah, definitely. It's something I think both teams probably should look into. But they're both doing very well without coaches at the moment over here in Europe. They're both still in the running. Looking at the bracket, where we still see the Fable Era supremacy kind of cryptic top 4 teams in the top 4 kind of spaces right now.
Yeah.
Not one's faltered. Cryptic obviously through to that semi-final spot already. Supremacy going to be fighting out with Radiant, who we saw earlier. Era playing Stimulate. That should be quite a good game. I think it's going on now, actually. We can just see it over in our peripheral. And, of course, we're waiting on Fable and DZ just to get started, get underway again. Just still waiting for a player to join back into this lobby area. He's seems to have disconnected again. Looks like they're going for a quick reboot, and we'll try and get the action underway pretty quickly.
Yeah, the odd on and off again. But, yeah, so Redline's having a few troubles. So the quicker that we're able to get this sorted out, the better. So there was that station that was actually having trouble earlier on today with, that's why we wasn't able to connect actually to to our server, so we could actually stream the game live. It wasn't actually that computer though; it's the one next to it. So different computer, different issue.
Some technical issues going on.
Yeah, but should be done fairly quickly, hopefully. So we're going to have a look at other things going on for the match. So we spoke quite a lot about this matchup that they've been doing here. So the next another matchup that we've got going on, that will be going on, is Era and Stimulate. So let's have a little touch up on that. So where do you see that game going?
I think it does fall in Era's favour. The Stimulate roster, we said earlier, Breaker, Demonic, Mush, Warrior Guns and Shid. They're a team that have been around together, playing together for a very long time now. They're a strong roster. I don't think they're individually fantastic as a bunch. However, they are a very good team. And if they can get in Era's head, they have a shot, for sure. But I think it does still lay in Era's favour.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember watching them at Nottingham when their team was slightly different. They actually had Precision on their team in place of Warrior Guns, and they played against XL, who were on our Fable at the time, and they gave them a right running. So there was tiny mistakes cost them the actual games that they lost against them, and after that, their heads were pretty down after that. I remember actually going up to them saying, like, you guys played really well. There was just a tiny few things that you didn't get. So I'm hoping that even though they have got rid of a great player in Precision and they picked up Warrior Guns, I'm hoping that they've been able to iron out a lot of the mistakes that they made in the past and say they're able to sort of chuck everything they have at this Era team. Because there's no doubt that it is a team that you can mentally fiddle with, should we say, or get in their head.
I think that's a very good description. We are about to load in for the third time lucky, hopefully. With this Fable versus DZ game, not Era, Fable versus DZ game. Let's jump on the COG team. They were the one having issues earlier. Seems like they're all out of spawn this time. So going to that overhead, we see the home hill players coming up. We see the guys back down to the apples. Smoke